Rabinder, thanks so much for joining us with all those details. But shifting focus, and as promised, let's put the spotlight on India's dairy sector then. And GST on several dairy products has either been reduced from 12% to 5% or it has been cut from 5% to 0%. What impact will this have on volumes? To understand exactly that, we are now joined by Manish Bandlish, Managing Director at Mother Dairy. Manish, afternoon, and thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here on ET Now. GST has been cut by the government, and I believe you have also passed it on completely to the end consumer. This will come into effect on the 22nd of September. But before that, if you can tell us what kind of volume growth are you expecting on account of this GST cut on several dairy products?
Thank you, Ashisha, for having me on this program. I think this whole initiative by the government of India to reduce GST on consumer products is a very, very welcome step, especially for the dairy sector. And this will give a fillip not only to the consumption, it will also give a fillip to the farmer income in the long run and the medium term. To give an example, our organized sector in India from is only 35 to 40%. If you look at all the products combined, we expect basis this more affordability will happen in the dairy products, and over the next 6 months to a year, at least 10 to 15% extra growth is likely to come on most of the value added products especially, and this will give a much required fillip to the dairy sector in terms of growth for all the value added products.
Understood. So 10 to 15% volume growth, that's the kind of growth that you're expecting on account of GST reduction. But Manish, if you can tell us, how will it help the entire ecosystem? I understand end consumers will consume more, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities on account of reduction in GST. But from scratch, from farmers, how will it help the entire ecosystem?
So I'll start with the consumer. So let's take an example of a paneer or a ghee or a butter. These are very popular categories when the consumer is consuming. A paneer, for example, is only not more than 4 to 5% organized today. When paneer becomes more affordable for the consumer, and if they start consuming more of that paneer because it is coming from well-known brand like Mother Dairy, who's focusing on quality, then I'll need more and more of milk to make that paneer and other associated categories like ghee, butter, or ice cream. If I need more milk, I have to go back to my farmers. I have more than 10 lakh farmers connected to our dairy ecosystem in our system, which means I will need more milk from the farmers, which means the farmer will get motivated to keep more cattle, which means their income will increase further. So this is the ecosystem I'm talking about. They'll get more. I will have to buy, or I will buy more milk from the farmers, and they'll get a good price for their production. So this whole dairy ecosystem will get a fillip. Is how I see it.
Understood. So the entire dairy ecosystem is likely to get a fillip, and you're expecting strong double-digit volume growth on account of this. Now, that's a big figure. But I understand GST on several farm equipments has also been lowered. How do you expect this to aid farmer community at large and ultimately aid volume growth further?
See, like I said, once the farmer gets benefit, for example, a tractor, if the GST has been reduced, it will become more affordable for the farmer. They can easily invest in those farm equipments. They can easily invest into their technology, which they may not have been able to do today. So I think overall affordability at the farmer level, income increasing at the other end, will immediately help the farmers in the medium to long term being able to afford these products at a much larger scale.
So several GST reductions not only for agri products but for allied businesses and farm equipments in particular, that is also likely to aid the entire community and the rural market. Sir, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here on ET Now and helping us understand how the GST reduction on dairy products is likely to aid volume growth for the entire sector. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
On that note, we need to slip into a very short break, but our coverage on commodities will continue on the other side.